job was supposed to set me free. That was the promise. Study hard, get hired, work a stable 9 to 5, climb slowly, retire comfortably, simple, safe, responsible. At least that's what everyone kept saying. So when I finally got my first real office job, I felt like I had made it. I remember sitting in that spinning chair on the first morning, wearing an uncomfortable button-up shirt, pretending not to be nervous while staring at rows of gray cubicles and fluorescent lights that somehow made everyone look exhausted. But I didn't notice the exhaustion back then. All I saw was security, a steady paycheck, health insurance, paid holidays, an actual future. After years of uncertainty, the 9 to 5 felt like adulthood finally beginning. What nobody told me was that some traps feel comfortable when you first walk into them. The first year honestly felt exciting. Every payday felt rewarding because I had never earned consistent money before. I bought nicer clothes, ate out more often, upgraded my phone. Little by little, life improved. Or at least it looked like it improved. That's the dangerous part about the 9 to 5 trap. It rarely destroys you immediately. It slowly conditions you. At first, the routine feels productive. Wake up, commute, work, come home tired, repeat. And because everyone around you lives the same way, you stop questioning it. Exhaustion becomes normal. Stress becomes normal. Waiting for weekends becomes normal. Living primarily for 2 days out of 7 becomes normal. Nobody tells you how strange that actually is. Around year 3, something shifted inside me. Not dramatically, quietly. I started noticing how often people talked about escape. Co-workers counted days until Friday, like prisoners scratching marks into walls. Every Monday morning looked emotionally devastating. People survived through coffee, complaints, and countdowns to vacations that never lasted long enough. Yet everyone acted like this was adulthood at its peak. One afternoon during lunch, I overheard a man near retirement say something that stuck with me for years. "This job took the best decades of my life." He laughed after saying it, but it was funny. More like he was trying not to regret it. That sentence haunted me because I suddenly realized something terrifying. Most people were not building lives. They were enduring routines. The real trap was not the work itself. Work can be meaningful. The trap was dependency. My entire survival depended on one company continuing to tolerate my existence every month. If they decided otherwise, everything collapsed. Rent, bills, food, security. That realization changes the way you sleep at night, especially once you understand how replaceable employees actually are. Companies call workers family until budgets tighten. Then the family suddenly becomes a spreadsheet problem. I watched loyal employees disappear overnight during restructuring meetings. People who gave years of overtime and dedication walked out carrying cardboard boxes. That was the moment I understood something nobody warned me about growing up. A stable job is only stable until it isn't. Still, I stayed because leaving felt irresponsible. That's another part of the trap. The longer you stay inside it, the scarier freedom becomes. Monthly paychecks create psychological comfort even when the work drains you completely. You begin organizing your entire life around predictable income. Bills expand to match salary. Responsibilities increase. Risk tolerance disappears. Golden handcuffs, that's what people call it. A life comfortable enough to keep you trapped. Not rich enough to feel free. Not painful enough to force change. Just permanently in between. By my late 20s, I noticed something else. I was always tired. Not physically tired. Existentially tired. Every week blurred together. Wake up before sunrise, rush through traffic, spend 8 hours making someone else wealthier, drive home exhausted, repeat until death or retirement. And retirement itself started sounding depressing. Work for 40 years, hoping your body still functions enough to enjoy freedom afterward. That was the plan. Trade youth for security, trade energy for survival, trade time for money endlessly. Because the 9 to 5 doesn't only consume hours, it quietly consumes identity. When I was younger, I had ambitions beyond employment. I wanted to create things, build things, learn constantly. After long work days, ambition turns into survival mode. Netflix becomes therapy. Weekends become recovery periods instead of growth opportunities. I was sitting in traffic after another meaningless meeting, staring at rows of identical cars filled with equally exhausted people. Everyone looked emotionally absent. And suddenly I thought, is this really it? That question changed everything. Business owners, investors, freelancers, creators, they built systems instead of simply renting out hours endlessly. Meanwhile, most employees remained trapped, trading time directly for survival. No work meant no money. No money meant fear. Many 9-to-5 workers earn decent salaries, yet remain one emergency away from panic. Debt consumes income. Lifestyle inflation absorbs raises. Because I had followed the script exactly, study, work hard, stay responsible, yet something still felt fundamentally broken. So I started experimenting quietly. Nothing dramatic at first. I learned skills outside my job, read books about money and business, started freelancing online during evenings, invested small amounts consistently. Most importantly, I stopped seeing my job as an identity. It became a tool instead of a life sentence. Fear loses power over you. And fear is what keeps most people trapped. Fear of instability, fear of failure, fear of disappointing others. People brag about being overworked, as if suffering proves importance. Burnout becomes status. Being constantly busy becomes an identity. Meanwhile, free time almost feels suspicious. But wealthy people understand something differently. Time matters more than appearances. And once you understand that, the entire 9-to-5 culture starts looking strange. Millions are sacrificing their healthiest years waiting for permission to finally live later. Later. That word traps people more than almost anything else. I'll travel later, I'll enjoy life later, I'll pursue my passion later. Then, suddenly, one becomes old age, or illness, or regret. One evening, I asked an older coworker whether he regretted staying at the company so long. He thought quietly before answering. "I regret waiting," he said. "Waiting for the perfect time to actually build my own life." That sentence stayed with me because it exposed the real danger of the trap, not employment, delay, the belief that your real life begins someday in the future after enough sacrifice. But life is happening now. Every commute, every exhausted evening, every missed opportunity was because comfort felt safer than uncertainty. Eventually, I left the job, not recklessly, not emotionally, strategically. By then, I had built enough income streams and savings to survive the transition without panic. And honestly, the first morning without an alarm clock felt surreal. Not because I hated work, because for the first time in years, my time belonged to me again. Freedom changes your relationship with life itself. You think more clearly. I work harder now than I did at my 9-to-5. But there's a massive difference. Ownership. When effort builds your future instead of only maintaining survival, work feels completely different psychologically. The truth is, the 9-to-5 trap is not really about jobs. It's about unconscious living, about drifting into routines without questioning whether they align with the life you actually want. Some people genuinely love traditional careers. That's fine, but many stay because they are afraid to imagine alternatives, afraid to risk stability, afraid to fail publicly. So they slowly trade freedom for predictability until the trade feels irreversible. Looking back, I wish someone had warned me earlier. Not that jobs are evil, not that hard work is pointless, but that security without freedom can become its own kind of prison, and that if you are not careful, routine will quietly consume years before you realize what happened. Because the most dangerous traps rarely feel dangerous in the beginning. They feel comfortable, safe, normal, until one day you wake up wondering where your life went. If this story hit home, like the video, comment your thoughts below and subscribe for more stories about money, work, freedom, and the realities nobody talks about.